Good afternoon, brethren. Today I want to talk about the will of God. I'm gonna take my reference from these are the four Gospels, each and every Gospel: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You got this story, the story of Christ, of Jesus, when he went towards his suffering, when he went to Gethsemane with his disciples. There were 11 disciples because Judas, the 12th, he had gone away to the chief priests. So it was Christ and the 11 disciples. So he said, let's go, as he usually did, to go for prayer. But when it comes to the will of God, there are certain things which are not necessary for you along the way. So there came a time on their way to the mountain in Gethsemane. Mind you, Gethsemane was a garden, and inside the garden there was a mountain, the mountain of Olivet. So there came a point and a time in his journey to the mountain of Olivet that he discovered that we are too much for this. So he said to the 8 disciples, stay here, we will come back. And he took 3 disciples, that is James, John, and Peter. So he left the 8 and he said, we are going and we will come back. So he continued the journey with the 3 disciples, James, John, and Peter. But along the way, there came also a time when he said, no, this is for me. And he said unto James, John, and Peter, stay here and watch with me. You see, the 8 disciples, they were just told to stay. But these 3, he told them to stay and to watch with him. Meaning in life, there are certain people who doesn't know anything about you. Those people you would just say, I am going. Those people who doesn't have even a clue about yourself, but they are within your circles. So these are the people, when it comes to the will of God, you just tell them that you don't have to tell them anything. But there are those closer to you. You would say to them, I am going to do this, I'm going to do that. Why? Simply because they've got a better understanding about you. A better understanding about you. But there will come a time you have to leave them. Though they've got a better understanding about you, but the will of God is upon you and God, just the two of you. So there will come a time you don't need people in life. There will come a time you need God in your life. Just you and God, and it is done. So on the 3rd step, he said, just stay here and watch with me. You are telling to the 3 disciples. Those are the people who will witness the manifestation of God in your life. Like what happened in Matthew 17 on transfiguration. They will just witness what God is going to do in your life. But for God to do something in your life, it is about you and God alone. That's why Christ said, stay here now, that I go further. So it took Christ a choice to leave the other 3 disciples, that he goes further, that it becomes him and God alone. So there, with God alone, that's where his sweat became like blood. That's where angels came to minister unto him. Why? Because it was between him and God. That is the perfect will of God. So, there is no way we can meet with God in our lives as long as we want to accommodate people in our lives. My calling is between me and God, to the people. I will not include people in my callings. I will not include people in the things of God that is within me. No. They will not understand, and they will never understand. You see? So, after the transfiguration, those who were made to witness, they said, we saw Moses, we saw Elijah. But the fact that they saw Moses and Elijah, it was because Christ has chose to go by himself. There are certain things in life you have to do by yourself. And you have to face God alone. Because you can't face God with other people, because they all have got their own missions, and they all have their own ministries and their own lives. So if you strive to accommodate people in your life, in your ministry, then you are bound to fall. The first church, the 8, they don't know anything. They just go, they just walk with Christ. The 3, they've got a better understanding. But the 1 is the will of God. So as long as you want to please God, you have to take yourself and go into the prayer room, yourself and God. Meet with God yourself.